Hello everyone and welcome. It's Shannon. Now today we're working with a big collection from Spellbinders. It is called The Wonder of Oz. And we're going to be making 3 cards on today's video. And here's a little sneak peek of them. And so we're just going to get started. I'm going to show you the whole collection. And I'm going to start off by showing you the Wonder of Oz silhouette cutting die. And this has got Dorothy, the Tin Man, the Lion, Toto, and the Scarecrow. And then we have BetterPress plates, and we've got it with all of the gals, the 2 witches, and Dorothy. And you can press or glimmer that. And then we also have the man, the Scarecrow, and the Lion. And we have the coordinating sentiments that go with it that are called the Wonder of Oz sentiments. A wicked friend like you is rare. All you need is confidence. True courage is facing danger when you're afraid. There's no place like home. Good friends are the best companions, and so on. We've also got like a cover plate that is a press plate, and it is called the Wonder of Oz frame and tag. And it's got a big plate that you can press or glimmer. There's no place like home. And it's got some decorative elements around it. And you have also some additional dies that you can cut out some pieces. And then we've got the Field of Poppies 3D embossing folder. And so that is the entire collection, I believe. And we're going to be working with it today. And I'll tell you, I went crazy. I'm just showing you a very small amount of work that I did because I glimmered everything. I pressed everything. I cut everything. Just tons and tons and tons. I did sentiments in all different colors and foils and everything. But right now what I'm doing is I'm creating a panel. I was remembering the scene where they're in the field and the witch puts the spell on the field of poppies. And I kind of pulled up that scene and they were kind of pinkish, orangish. And so I chose a couple of colors from my Distress Oxides to just ink blend up a panel. And I'm going to run it through the 3D embossing folder, and we're going to use that for our Field of Poppies. And I think it's going to be really pretty. Now you'll see a rainbow colored panel off to the side. I'm going to use it in another video. So here I'm going to bring in the press plate, and I'm actually going to press the first 2. Now I videoed pressing all of them, but it's redundant, and I don't think you need to see all that. But I'm just going to go ahead and press Dorothy and the Tin Man here, and we'll just run them through the machine. And I'm going to use 2 different colors of ink. I'm going to use the lighter blue for Dorothy, and then I'll use the Cosmic Sky for the Tin Man. I don't think we wind up pulling these particular ones into the video today because I was all over the place just doing all the things with all of the pieces, and so I wound up with a huge collection of stuff that I'll be able to use for other videos. But I'm going to go ahead and show you this plate here. I'm going to go ahead and press it, and I'm going to use my mulberry on it. And it is a large plate. You got to get a lot of ink on there. This was kind of dry, but I kind of like the muted look of it once I got it done. But I'll just keep inking and inking and inking. The muted was okay because the frame on this is not exactly square and it's a little bit wonky, but here's everything I've pressed. Now here is everything that I've pressed, I've glimmered, I've die cut. I just went wild, and you can see I've just got all kinds of different glimmers and press plates. I took that rainbow pattern and die cut out the silhouette. I've got sentiments that are pressed on different colors with different colors. I even took a splattered thing and pressed the lion on it and die cut it out. So I've got a lot. We're not going to work with it all today. We've got 3 layouts here. They're all very different. This one I took and foiled the witch on some Spellbinders Peridot, and I've got some overfoiling on there, and I'm just showing you can take some washi tape. It doesn't matter because we're covering that up. I'm going to use that press plate frame that I die cut out the tag out of the center to go around the witch, and we're going to have the witch kind of framed with that. I thought that was kind of fun. And then I took the silhouette die in black and I die cut out the group. My husband just came in, so I had to relocate rooms to do my voiceover. Anyway, we're going to get this foiled panel laid down on here. And I just used some silver glimmer foil from cardstock, or from Spellbinders. And you can see I've kind of laid this down because I just glimmered that. I didn't center it or whatever, so I kind of cut the panel down, and it was kind of hanging off the bottom there, so I trimmed it off. But I've kind of got a good gap there on the top, so I'm going to bring in a piece that I cut off and fill it in so it'll lay more level. So we'll get this laid down on there, and we've got the basis of the starting point of our card here. So I did take the tag and I just die cut it out, and I'm going to use it for something else. Just laid it aside. I wanted to have the witch kind of coming through this window, and then the silhouette of the group kind of looking at the witch, and I just thought it would make for an interesting scene. So I'm going to bring in some foam tape, and we're going to get these popped up. And I just kind of sped through that so you didn't have to watch me cutting all those little bitty pieces of foam and getting them laid down on there. It took me about 3 minutes to do that, so I don't think you wanted 3 minutes worth of that. So I'm going to just give it a press down, and you can see we've got it hanging over the edge there. And so I'm just going to bring in my scissors, and I'm going to cut off the part that's hanging over. And I think it'll look really neat. I thought it was a kind of a neat idea when I considered putting the witch in that frame. I thought, well, we'll lay these, and it was kind of just a happy accident because they were kind of laying there by it, and I was like, oh, that kind of looks cool. When I was just, doing all the things and just throwing everything aside on my desk as I moved on to the next thing. And so that's how I decided to pair these together. And so then we're going to take our sentiment, a wicked friend like you is rare, and we're going to use it. I think that's a good sentiment that we've got our wicked witch there. And we'll pop it up as well, and we'll get it laid down on our card base. And then I'm going to bring in some Spellbinders gems, and we will embellish this card, and it'll pretty much finish it off. So I've got some black little gems, and I'm going to go looking for them, and we'll bring them in and get them laid down on there. And I think I wind up putting, I don't know, 6 or 7 of them on there. And just kind of filling in that green space that's around there just to kind of add some sparkle and shine and just fill up some of that open space that is there. Anyway, I think it turned out really nice with the silver on there, and it really kind of has a cool look to it. So that'll pretty much finish off this one. I did do one other card with a witch that was really grungy that I didn't record, and it turned out pretty interesting as well. So we're going to do more of kind of a pretty, kind of a clean, a simple card here. And basically, I'm going to just layer up some panels. I've got some colors that I'm just kind of repeating with this, and it kind of matches what we used for the blending of the panel in the first part of the video. And I'm just going to get this panel laid down on there. And then I took that ink blended panel and, embossed it with a poppy filled 3D embossing folder. And we're going to use that for our background, but we're going to frame it out with this. And I'm going to have to trim this down. I take it over to the guillotine and trim it down. And luckily I was able to trim it down without cutting my card base off. Anyway, so it felt like there was kind of a rough edge on there while I was blending, so I was kind of rubbing it down, and I'm going to flip this over. And I've got ink on the back. I forget why that was inked on the back. I think I started inking it before I turned the camera on, and I was like, oh, I'm going to turn the camera on, and so then I flipped it over and then started inking the other side. I had a little tiny piece of foam tape on there that I had picked up off the desk on there, so I had to get it off of there without running it. Now, what I was thinking here was, I don't know if you've seen the show, but Glinda comes in a bubble. And so I didn't use a circle die, I used an oval die because of the shape of her. And I had some vellum that actually is like a snowy vellum. I actually got it from my girlfriend, Daria. And used it for this purpose. And so it's kind of to me, it's kind of like there's bubbles with it, or so. I don't know. I thought I would use it. So I'm going to just press down on the glue there, the glued area. I'm going to snip off where her dress is sticking out behind there. And I just put a little bit of glue at the bottom just to temporarily hold it until I can get it glued down onto the card base. And what I'm going to do here is I'm cleaning my nozzle to my glue, and I'm just going to put some little dots all the way around there, trying to be really careful so I don't get it on the vellum. I will get a little bit on there and I'll clean it off, but we are able to get it laid down on our card base, and I think it looks nice. And I'm going to bring in that ruler and some of my magnets and just hold it down. We're going to press that, push that aside, and we'll work on something else while that's getting glued down. Now what I'm going to do is I decided to snip the edges off of the bottom, and not make them hang longer than what they are. And then we're going to add some foam tape to this, and I did go ahead and cut out the footage of that because it did take me a good minute to get all the foam laid down on there. And I only laid it on half of it. I didn't put it on the lion because the lion's going to be laying over the bubble that Glinda the Witch is in. And so we'll get it laid down on there. And so I'm going to give that a good press. And we basically got a silhouette. And it kind of looks like the scarecrow is pointing at the witch. And everybody's looking. Oh, look, here comes the witch. If you've seen the show, she kind of, floats in her bubble. And we're going to go ahead and pop up the sentiment as well on this one. And I thought, they're kind of traveling down the yellow brick road, and they come across the poppy fields, and we've got good friends are the best travel companions is the sentiment that I'm going to use for this. And I did foil it with some pink Spellbinders foil that I had in my stash, and we're going to get it laid down on there, and that's going to be our sentiment for this card. If I can get the backer strips pulled off of it. So we'll just get this laid down on there, and then we're going to bring in some embellishments and just add a little sparkle to this card as well. These are some iridescent gems, and they kind of take on different colors when you turn them, and so I thought they'd be fun for this card, and we'll just lay them down on there. I'm sticking with the smaller ones, the medium and the smaller ones again on this card, and we're just going to lay several on this. We're going to lay it on the Posy Fields embossed panel and also on the vellum around the Good Witch. And so we'll just lay several of those down. And then that will pretty much finish off our second card. And this is just a really eclectic mix of cards. I've just used a variety of colors and different mediums and stuff for it. So it's a very, very mixed bunch of cards. Not one that you can lay them all together and they'll be perfectly coordinated for a picture. So here I've taken the press plate, and I've also taken purple, and I used the Poppy Fields 3D embossing folder and embossed the purple panel. And I took whatever leftover purple ink I had left on my blending brush, and I kind of went around the outer edges because I knew that's all it would show, and just kind of highlighted the flowers. Now this, I'm doing a 5x7. I did 5x7s on the second and then this card. And my embossing full panel there was not quite long enough, but I wanted to bring some black in, so I'm just going to have a little bit of black showing at the top and the bottom of this card, and it'll just kind of frame it out. I just thought it would add some interest to have some black behind that. And so I'm going to try and line up to where we've got an even frame at the top and the bottom of the purple, and then we'll bring in our plate. I'm just trying to make it fit on a 5x7 card. And I'm trying to get the glue off my desk so that I don't glue my card to the desktop. And I went and grabbed some foam, and the only color foam I had was this hot pink that was in a big panel. And I thought, I'm going to use it. You're not probably going to see it unless you turn the card sideways and tilt your head and look underneath there. So I'm going to use it, and then that way we can pop it up and I don't have to peel off a bunch of strips of foam. So we'll get this laid down on there, and then we will get this one popped up. I'm going to get plenty of glue down on there because we've got, an embossed panel, and it's going to be hard pressed to get stuck on there. So we're going to have to give it a good press. And then I have got I had the the glimmered Dorothy, and then I had the pressed, and I decided, I was kind of debating, I could have used the foiled one, but I decided to use the pressed one and to just have kind of a different texture and look to it than the foiled black panel. I thought it would add some interest and just a little bit of a different look. So we're going to use that and get her laid down on there. And she's just kind of pointing to the "there's no place like home" tag that you can actually die cut it out separately if you want. So I don't know why her hand is positioned like that, like she's pointing at something or whatever, but I thought I'd make her point at the home. And she's got the little dog in the basket there as well. That's super cute. And so we'll just get all this pressed down on there. I'm going to bring those black gems in again, and we're going to lay 3 of those gems, 2 at the top and then 1 at the bottom, and then that will pull this card together as well. So, and I still have got a tray full of all kinds of elements to work with. So here's our silver foiled Wicked card, and then we've got our pretty ink blended panel with the poppy fields, and then we've got our press plate. So I hope you like it. I appreciate you watching. Here's another look at the photos. I gave you a couple different views so you could kind of check it out. Thanks for stopping by my channel. I do appreciate you watching. And if you haven't, if you wouldn't mind giving the video a like, it sure does help the channel. And if you haven't subscribed, I would love to have you subscribe to my channel. I do content every day, and so you can see something new each day on my channel. So thanks for watching, and have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.